Yo, what's up YouTube? It's your boy JHAWK here, and welcome to our Season 3 award show. Today we're going over the finalists for all our awards, and something different for the first time in our history of this league is that instead of previewing round 1 of the playoffs after we get through the awards, we are actually going to be doing the play-in tournament preview. We will preview the 4 games that are on schedule, and then of course there's going to be 2 other games to determine who the 8 seed is going to be, but we will preview those games after we get through those 4 games, so hang tight with that. But I hope you guys are excited. This year we're doing something different for the award show. 10 finalists per award, and everybody is eligible for +1 to their attribute upgrade for being a finalist. If you finish first, you get +3. Second place, you get +2. And third and below, you always get 1. But that's enough talking from me. Let's go ahead and get into the events. For today's video, we will be announcing the winners of Rookie of the Year, Defense Player of the Year, Sixth Man of the Year, Most Improved, and most importantly, the MVP, while also naming the team, the members of each team, rookies first and second team, defensive first and second team, and then the custom league first, second, and third teams. But enough talking, let's go ahead and get into the award show. And popping up on your screen now is the finalists for Rookie of the Year. In our 10 finalists for Rookie of the Year, we will start it out at the top with Billiam LeVar Tyrese, aka BLT. That's his nickname from now on. BLT, he averaged 13.9 points per game, 2.8 rebounds, 4 assists. He shot 49% from the field and 30% from the three-point line. Next up is going to be Chet Holmgren, and we're going in alphabetical order. So this isn't like if they're first, second, third, but alphabetical order. So Chet Holmgren is second, 12.3 points per game, 6.4 rebounds, 1.5 assists. 47% shooting from the field and 36% from the three-point line. Up next, we have D'Angelo Dawkins, double D. That's probably not good to say. But D'Angelo, 12.7 points per game, 6.2 rebounds, 3.8 assists, shooting 47% from the field and 38% from the three-point line. Next up, we have Jabari Smith Jr., and he averaged 12.9 points per game, 5.3 rebounds, 1.7 assists. He shot 46% from the field and 37% from the three-point line. Next up, we have Jaden Hardy, who averaged 15.1 points per game to lead all rookies. He also brought in 3.7 rebounds and 2.4 assists per game while shooting 55% from the field and 49% from the three-point line. Next up, we have J.D. Davison. He averaged 11 points, 3.8 rebounds, 4.9 assists, shooting 43% from the field and 18% from the three-point line. Next up, we have Jeffrey Davion. Jeffrey averaged 12.8 points, 2.9 rebounds, 2.2 assists. He shot 49% from the field and 38% from the three-point line. Next up is Markey Walker. Markey averaged 14.4 points per game, 2.2 rebounds, 3.2 assists, shooting 53% from the field and 39% from the three-point line. Next up is Paolo Banchero. Paolo averaged 12.5 points, 6.6 rebounds, just under an assist a game at 0.9. He shot 51% from the field and 30% from the three-point line. And our final finalist is going to be Salil Ahmed. Salil averaged 13.7 points per game, 1.9 rebounds, 4.2 assists, 43% shooting from the field, and 38% from the three-point line. So congrats to all 10 of our finalists. And this was a close race, but the winner with 52% of the votes is BLT, Billiam LeVar Tyrese. Congrats to BLT. He gets a +3 attribute upgrade, coming in second. Close second was Chet Holmgren, so Chet does get a +2, and then everybody else does get a +1. Members of the first team rookie, of course, Billiam LeVar Tyrese and Chet are there. The other 2 members are D'Angelo Dawkins, Jaden Hardy, and Marquis Walker. So congrats to all 5 of them for making the first team. That means the remaining 5 do make the rookie second team. So J.D. Davison, Jabari Smith Jr., Jeffrey Davion, Paulo Banchero, and Salil Ahmed. So congrats to all our finalists for Rookie of the Year. Congrats to you guys. You guys are going to have a successful career in our league. Alright guys, next up is the finalists for the 6th Man of the Year. And of course, we're going to have a couple names from Rookie of the Year on this list. So we will actually just start it out with the guys you've already heard of. So first up on 6th Man of the Year, it's Chet Holmgren. So congrats Chet, he is a finalist for 6th Man of the Year, as you've already seen his stats. We'll just keep it moving, alphabetical order again. Next up is Chris Duarte. Chris averaged 12.4 points, 2.8 rebounds, 1.1 assists, shooting 47% from the field and 41% from the three-point line. Here comes a couple more familiar names. The next two, actually. The J.D. Davison. There we go. J.D. is a finalist, as you've already seen his stats. We'll go ahead and move on to the next finalist, a familiar name. Jeffrey Davion, also a finalist. You've seen their stats, so we can just move it on. Next up, we have Jordan Poole, the Poole Party. He averaged 11.8 points, 1.5 rebounds, 2.1 assists, shooting 42% from the field and 33% from the three-point line. Next up, we have Kevin Love, K-Love. He averaged 9.6 points, 5.9 rebounds, 2.9 assists, shooting 39% from the field and 36% from the three-point line. Next up, we have Kevin Porter Jr., KPJ, averaged 11.5 points, 2.5 rebounds, 4.2 assists, shooting 43% from the field and 37% from the three-point line. Last familiar name on here is Salil Ahmed, is a finalist for 6th Man of the Year. You've already seen his stats, of course. So we'll move it on to the final two, and we'll start it out with Terrence Ross. Terrence averaged 10.5 points, 1.7 rebounds, 1.1 assists, shooting 45% from the field and 31% from the three-point line. And our final finalist is going to be Tyus Jones. Tyus averaged 10 points, 2.5 rebounds, 4.5 assists, shooting 48% from the field and 38% from the three-point line. The winner of this very close race also came down to the last vote. But the winner is Chet Holmgren. So congrats, Chet, for winning this award. He beat out Jeffrey Davion by 1 vote. So a very close race, could have went either way. But congrats to Chet for winning the award. And, I mean, he finished second in Rookie of the Year. So instead of taking the +2 for Rookie of the Year, he'll take his +3 for 6th Man. Same thing with Jeffrey. He got +1 for Rookie of the Year. He'll take his +2. And then everybody else gets +1. Except the ones that are already familiar on this list, like J.D. Davison and Salil Ahmed. They'll just take their +1. Not going to add on to that, of course. But congrats to everybody that was a finalist for 6th Man of the Year. Next up, we have the Most Improved Player. And of course, for this award, we put the upgrade or downgrade in their stats in parentheses. I will not be reading through the parentheses. I'm just going to be reading through the stats. So let's start it out at the top with Cade Cunningham. Cade averaged 20.1 points, 5.1 rebounds, 3.3 assists. He shot 54% from the field and 50% from the three-point line. The three-point champion this year is a finalist for Most Improved. Next up, we have Cam Thomas. Cam averaged 15 points, 2.8 rebounds, 1.4 assists. He shot 46% from the field and 39% from the three-point line. Next up, we have All-Star Clint Capella. Clint averaged 11.8 points, 12 rebounds, 1.4 assists. He shot 57% from the field and did not throw up a three-point attempt. Next up, we have Darius Garland. Darius averaged 18 points, 2.2 rebounds, 6.2 assists. He shot 50% from the field and 40% from the three-point line. Next up, we have All-Star DeAndre Ayton. DeAndre averaged 15.8 points, 12.5 rebounds, 1.6 assists. He shot 56% from the field and did not throw up a three-point attempt. Next up, we have Jay Walking. Jay averaged 19.2 points, 1.6 rebounds, 7.9 assists, 46% from the field, and 41% from the three-point line. Next up, we have Jonathan Kuminga. Kuminga averaged 10.4 points, 5.4 rebounds, 1.3 assists. He shot 45% from the field and 32% from the three-point line. Next is myself, Jordan Hawkins. I averaged 9.2 points, 5.6 rebounds, 7.6 assists. Shot 42% from the field and 38% from the three-point line. Next up, we have R.J. Barrett. R.J. averaged 18 points, 5.4 rebounds, 1.7 assists. He shot 47% from the field and 39% from the three-point line. And our final finalist is Scotty Barnes. Scotty averaged 12 points, 6 rebounds, 2.4 assists, shooting 51% from the field and 33% from the three-point line. So congrats to all our finalists for Most Improved. But this was a runaway award. He just dominated the voting. Didn't get all 100% of the votes, but he did get 75% of the votes. And that is Cade Cunningham. Congrats to Cade for winning Most Improved Player. I mean, with the stats upgrades that he had, going up 7.5 points, shooting 6% better from the field and 9% better from the three-point line. I knew it was obvious he was going to be the favorite to win this award. So congrats to Cade for winning this award. Congrats to all our finalists. Coming in second was jaywalking, though, so congrats to Jay. So congrats to all our finalists for Most Improved. Alright, guys, it is time for the finalists for the Defensive Player of the Year. So we got some really good names on this list. Let's start out at the top. Andre Drummond is first up. He averaged 10.8 points, 12 rebounds, 2.4 assists, 1.4 steals, and 1.2 blocks for the season. Next up is the reigning champion, Giannis Antetokounmpo. Giannis averaged 22.7 points, 9.7 rebounds, 4.1 assists. He had 1 steal and 1.5 blocks per game. So congrats to Giannis. Try to get his crown back. Next up is Jaren Jackson Jr., Triple J. He averaged 11.5 points, 6.1 rebounds, just under an assist at 0.9. He had 1 steal and 2 blocks per game. Next up, we have Jimmy Buckets, Jimmy Butler. He averaged 20.2 points per game, 6.2 rebounds, 4.4 assists. He led the led the Custom League with 2 steals per game, while also having 0.3 blocks per game. Got hiccups. That's no good. Next up, we have Jonathan Isaac. Jonathan Isaac won Season 1's award and always going to be on this list because he's a pretty good defender. But Jonathan averaged 8.7 points, 6.4 rebounds, 1.2 assists, 1.6 blocks, and 1.6 steals. I don't know why I read that backwards, but I did. But congrats, Jonathan. Next up, we have Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi averaged 15.5 points, 4.2 rebounds, 3.1 assists, 1.5 steals, and 0.3 blocks. Next up, we have Matisse Thybulle, who averaged 3.5 points, 1.1 rebounds, and under an assist a game at 0.7. He also had 1.5 steals and 0.7 blocks per game. Next up, we have Nerlens Noel. Nerlens, 5 points, 5.4 rebounds, 0.6 assists. He had 1.3 steals and 1.3 blocks. Next up, we have Robert Williams, the Time Lord. He averaged 8.6 points, 8.1 rebounds, 1.4 assists. He had 1.1 steals and 1.7 blocks. And rounding out our finalist is Rudy Gobert with his 10.3 points, 10.4 rebounds, 1 assist, 0.4 steals, and his league-leading 2.2 blocks per game. So congrats to all our finalists. And the winner in a pretty close race is Giannis Antetokounmpo. Giannis defends his crown. That's the Defensive Player of the Year, as he barely beat out Robert Williams. Robert Williams had pretty good stats, but Robert Williams does finish second. Third place, coming close behind Robert, was Jonathan Isaac. So congrats to Jonathan. First team, as you heard, first, second, and third place with Giannis, Robert Williams, and Jonathan Isaac. So the 2 guards that will be joining them on the first team is LaMelo Ball and Lonzo Ball. Let's go over their stats though. LaMelo, 16.6 points, 5.6 rebounds, 5.9 assists. He had 1.6 steals and 0.1 blocks per game. As for his brother Lonzo, he averaged 12.1 points, 3.9 rebounds, 6.7 assists. He had 1.7 steals and 0.5 blocks. So the Ball brothers are members of the first team. Congrats to them. On our second team, we will have Jaren Jackson Jr., Jimmy Butler, and Rudy Gobert all on the team. So congrats to them. Jimmy led the league in steals, while Rudy led the league in blocks. So the two guards that will join the team, we have my boy D'Angelo Hips with his 16.5 points, 1.9 rebounds, 2.2 assists, 1.1 steals, and 0.7 blocks. And also on the defensive second team for the second straight year is Zion Admola. Zion with his 13.5 points, 1.6 rebounds, 2.1 assists, 0.8 steals, and 1.1 blocks. So congrats to everybody that made defensive teams. Of course, the four guards were not finalists, but they will get +1 upgrade for making the team. So congrats to everybody in the Defense Player of the Year race. Alright guys, it's that favorite time of the video where we announce the finalists for the MVP. So, alphabetical order, we started out with Cade Cunningham. We've already seen his stats earlier, so we don't have to read them off again, but we will give him a shout out for helping lead the Colorado Springs Ducks to the number 2 seed in the West, as they will take on the winner of the Vegas-Minnesota play-in game. So congrats, Cade. Next up, we will go with Donovan Mitchell. Donovan, 22.6 points, 3.7 rebounds, 4.8 assists, shooting 51% from the field and 39% from the three-point range. Yeah. To lead the number 1 seed, best record in the whole league, the Utah Range. So congrats, Donovan. They will be playing whoever ends up with the 8 seed in the West. Next up, we will go to our defending back-to-back MVP, Giannis Antetokounmpo. Giannis averaged 22.7 points, 9.7 rebounds. Of course, you've already seen all this. But to go with those stats are his 56% shooting from the field and 34% from the three-point line. But for the first time in league history, we will not see Giannis hold the championship trophy and league championship MVP trophy, as the New York Empire failed to make the playoffs. So for the first time, we will have a new champion in the league. But we'll move on to the next finalist, Ja Morant. The young superstar scored 22 points a game, 4.7 rebounds, 5.4 assists, shooting 57% from the field and 41% from the three-point line, that helped lead the Milwaukee Cheese into the play-in tournament. It took them the last day of the regular season, but they got in as the 10th seed. So congrats to Ja. Next up, for the first time in league history, we have a custom prospect in ItsYaBoyJHAWK. Jay led the way with 19.2 points, 1.6 rebounds, 7.9 assists. He shot 46% from the field and 41% from the three-point line. They helped lead the Richmond Rams and LeBron James into the playoffs for the first time in this custom league. They are the 7th seed. They will be taking on the Indianapolis Harvesters in the play-in game. Winner gets the 7th seed. Loser has to play one more game to try to get the 8th seed, but congrats to Jay. Next up, we have Jason Tatum. Tatum averaged 21.7 points, 6.7 rebounds, 4.2 assists. He shot 53% from the field and 48% from the three-point line to help lead the LA Palms back in the playoffs as the 3 seed. And they will be taking on the 6th seed at Alaska Aces, so that should be a fun series. Congrats to Tatum. Next up, we have Kevin Durant. He averaged 21.3 points, 6.3 rebounds, 4 assists, shooting 55% from the field and 43% from the three-point line. They helped lead the Montreal Huskies to the number 2 seed, where they'll take on, of course, the winner of the Richmond-Indianapolis game in the first round. So congrats, Kevin. Next up, we have Luka Doncic. Luka averaged 23.8 points, 8.8 rebounds, 7.6 assists. He shot 52% from the field and 42% from the three-point line, as Luka helped Kansas City get the 9 seed for the play-in tournament, where they'll be taking on Ja and the Milwaukee Cheese. And the winner of that game moves on for one more game to try to be the 8 seed. Loser goes home. So that should be an exciting game. We're excited about that. Next up, we have Nikola Jokic. The Joker averaged 16.4 points, 11.6 rebounds, 6.9 assists. He shot 55% from the field and 43% from the three-point line. They'll lead the Illinois Steam to the 4 seed as they take on the 5-seeded Toronto Towers in the first round, led by the Splash Brothers, Klay Thompson and Steph Curry. That should be a fun series. Excited about that. Congrats to the Joker. And our final finalist is Zach LaVine. He led the league with 26.6 points per game. He also added in 5.2 rebounds, 2.8 assists, shooting 50% from the field and 38% from the three-point line for the Cleveland Rockers, who do not make the playoffs, right? Yeah, they didn't make the playoffs, sadly. That would have been fun to see him and Jimmy Butler in the playoffs. But congrats to all our finalists. And it's time for the winner of MVP, winning by a couple votes. Yep, just go ahead and crown them. 3-time MVP now, Giannis Antetokounmpo. Giannis wins his 3rd straight MVP award, barely beating out Luka, who finished 2nd. Zach LaVine did finish 3rd, though, so congrats to them. So, of course, them 3 are on the Custom League first team. Joining them will be Jason Tatum and Nikola Jokic. So congrats to all of them for making the first team. Moving on to the second team now, we will have Cade Cunningham, Ja Morant, and Kevin Durant all here. And joining them also, we have Anthony Davis. AD averaged 18 points, 9.3 rebounds, 2.8 assists. He shot 50% from the field and 34% from the three-point line to help lead the Oakland Oaks to the 4 seed in the West. They will take on the 5 seed Nevada Warbirds in round 1. That should be a fun series. And then we have Jimmy Butler for the Cleveland Rockers. He averaged 20.2 points, 6.2 rebounds, 4.4 assists, 55% from the field and 29% from the three-point line. On the third team, we have Donovan Mitchell and Jay Walking, the last finalists to make it. Also on the team, we have Kristaps Porzingis, 18.4 points, 8.5 rebounds, 2.1 assists, 42% from the field, and 29% from the three-point line, helping Luka and Kansas City make the playoffs after being traded from the LA Knights. Next up, we have Paul George, PG, 19.1 points, 5 rebounds, 3.2 assists. He shot 44% from the field and 39% from the three-point line for the New Orleans Jazz, but they missed out on the playoffs. So no Paul George in the playoffs. And our final member of the third team is Zion Williamson. Zion averaged 21.6 points, 9.2 rebounds, 3.8 assists. He shot 69% from the field and 21% from the three-point line for the St. Louis Spirits, who barely missed out on the playoffs, Milwaukee getting in over them. But congrats to everybody that was a finalist and made our custom league teams. And now let's go ahead and preview the play-in tournament. Alright guys, let's get into it. Our playoff preview. Teams popping up now for this first play-in game, which features the Las Vegas Outlaws and the Minnesota Monsters. This should be a very fun game. Let's go over these team stats coming into these playoffs, right? So we shall start it off at the top with Las Vegas being the number 7 seed for this game. 7-8 matchup in the play-in. Winner gets the actual number 7 seed and moves on to take on the Colorado Springs Ducks. The loser of this game will have to play the winner of the next game that we will preview for a spot for the 8th seed. But we'll start out with Vegas being the higher seed. They're led by Kyrie Irving with his 20.9 points per game this season. They went 39-31 in the regular season, scoring an average of 88.8 points per game while also allowing 87.8 points a game. So just a +1 in the point differential. And they will be taking on the Minnesota Monsters, led by Jaylen Brown, who led the way with 20 points per game this season for them. Minnesota going 38-32 in the regular season, scoring about 86.4 points per game while allowing only 82.6 points per game. So getting into this now with the regular season matchup between these two. Minnesota swept the season series. The first game was Minnesota winning on the road in Vegas by a score of 89-81. And the second game you guys saw in the videos last week, well, the other week where we did 7 games, 7 days. The Vegas-Minnesota game in Minnesota was that one of those games. And the Monsters came out with a 70-56 victory. So Minnesota swept this season series. But, of course, Vegas getting +1 on the win column over Minnesota. They get the home court advantage for this game. And honestly, I'm feeling another Minnesota win. I feel like Minnesota had their number in the regular season. I feel like it's just going to continue here in this one-game play-in game. So I feel like Minnesota has the edge in this one. I'm going to take Minnesota to knock out Vegas, send Vegas to the elimination game, and sending Minnesota into the actual tournament, well, playoffs, to take on Colorado Springs. So that's my prediction. I'm taking Minnesota over Las Vegas. Our next play-in game that we will be featuring popped up right there. We have the number 9 seeded Kansas City Bison, led by Luka Doncic, runner-up for MVP this year. And they will be taking on the 10 seeded Milwaukee Cheeses, led by young point guard Ja Morant. So we got 2 young point guards going at it in a one-game elimination. Winner advances to take on the loser of the Vegas-Minnesota game. And the loser of the game is eliminated and will be getting ready for the offseason. So let's go ahead and preview these two teams. Kansas City, like we said, led by Luka with his 23.8 points per game. They went 36-34 in the regular season, scoring about 90.4 points per game, but they also allowed 90.6 points per game, so they have a negative differential right there. Kind of rare to see right there. And then for Milwaukee, they are led, of course, by Ja Morant, who scored a team-leading 22 points per game as they went 35-35 in the regular season. Came down to that last game of the regular season to get into the playoffs, which they did, getting the tiebreaker over St. Louis. So they scored 90 points a game while only allowing 89.1, so they have a better differential right there. And honestly, this is going to be a fun game, featuring 2 of the young superstars in this game with Ja and Luka. So this should be a definite fun game. Going over the regular season series, Kansas City did sweep the season series 2-0. They won the first matchup on the road in Milwaukee by a score of 112-96. And winning the home matchup in this game, or in this season series, 108-89. So they had this season sweep over Milwaukee. And I'm hoping for a very close matchup. I want it to come down to like the last minute of the game where Luka and Ja are trading buckets, going back and forth with each other. But in the end, I think Kansas City is going to be able to hold off home court and get the victory. So I am going to be taking Luka and the Bison to move on. And in my prediction, they would have to go to Las Vegas for a shot at the 8th seed to play the Utah Range, who had the best record in the regular season. So that's my prediction. I'm taking Kansas City in this one. I'm taking Minnesota the other one. We'll see how I do in this one, of course. But that's what I'm going to... I just want a fun matchup between Luka and Ja. That's really what I want in this one. So, Kansas City, I'm taking you to beat Milwaukee. Alright, we now take our talents to the Eastern Conference for their play-in tournament games. And we started out with the 7-8 matchup, featuring the Richmond Rams and the Indianapolis Harvesters. This should be a fun matchup. Let's start out. Richmond led in scoring by custom prospect JayWalking. Jay led the way in scoring for this team. That also features LeBron on the team. So that's pretty dope. Shout out Jay, man. And then they went 39-31 in the regular season. Close. They almost made it to the 6th seed. Cincinnati just held on by a game. So congrats to Cincinnati holding on to that 6th seed. But Richmond gets the 7th seed with their 39-31 record. They scored about 90.7 points per game in the regular season while also giving up 88.2 points per game. And in this matchup, taking on Indianapolis, who is led by Trae Young, who averaged 21.5 points per game in the regular season for the 37-33 Harvesters. They scored 87.3 points per game while allowing 88.1 points per game. But two good point guards right here for each team. Both can give you at least 25 if they need to, so this should be a fun one I'm excited about. In the regular season, another sweep. Richmond swept this season series 2-0. They won the first matchup on their home court by a score of 95-92. And then on the road in Indianapolis won that matchup 89-83. So two close matchups in the regular season won by Richmond. And I kind of want to see another close matchup here. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. We're getting LeBron in our custom league playoffs for the first time. So this is going to be interesting. And we get to see Trae Young. I think this is going to be a very fun game. I think it's going to be close. Come down to hopefully the last 2 minutes where we have a back and forth game. And I'm gonna trust my gut and take the home team, the Richmond Rams, to win this matchup. The winner of this game moves on to take on the number 2 seeded Montreal Huskies in the first round. The loser of the game plays the winner of the next game, so we will see that. But I am picking Richmond to win this game over in Indianapolis. I feel like LeBron, if need be, will take over this game, go for at least 30 and get them the win and prevail them into a... We could potentially see a KD versus LeBron matchup in the first round of playoffs. That would be intense. But I am going to take Richmond to win this game. Alright guys, the final play-in game that we will be previewing today is... Boom. We have the 9 seed, the Florida Hedgehogs. And we have the 10 seed, Pittsburgh Force, facing off against each other. The winner of this game will play the loser of the Richmond-Indianapolis game, while the loser is eliminated and moves on to off-season mode. So let's start out with Florida. They were led in scoring by Kawhi Leonard. He scored 15.5 points per game for the 35-35 Hedgehogs. They scored 86.7 points per game while allowing 86.9 points per game. So they did give up more than they actually scored. And they went 35-35, which was good enough to get the 9 seed. And talking about Pittsburgh's record, you see it at the bottom. They went 31-39 and got the 10 seed. That's crazy. You wouldn't imagine a team 8 games under 500 end up making the playoffs like that. So, congrats to Pittsburgh. They were led in scoring by Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who scored 20.3 points per game this season for the Force. They gave up 92.2 points per game and only scored 90.6 points per game. So, you got two teams that gave up more than they actually scored. In their regular season matchup, it was a series split. Both teams won on home courts. Pittsburgh winning on their home court by a score of 78-71. Florida won pretty convincing on their home court, 95-75. So this is the rubber match. Winner of this gets the whole season win. And honestly, it's going to be difficult for me to not pick Florida to win this game with them having a home court advantage and how they did in the regular season with this home at home in this matchup. I mean, they got a 20-point home win. Plus, they got Kawhi. Zion Admola, our custom prospect. He made the defensive team. Kawhi was a finalist for Defensive Player of the Year, but didn't make a defensive team. But you got two good defenders right there. And they're going to be tasked with taking on Shai and Pittsburgh. I mean, I feel like this can be a fun game for the fact that Shai's here. Shai can give you 20 points easily, but it's going to be interesting seeing how the defense affects him. I think Zion's probably going to be guarding him in this game, so this should be a fun matchup for them. I hope this game is a close one, though. Honestly, I hope all our playoff games are just close this year. But I'm leaning with Florida to win this game, so that would mean I would have Florida and Indianapolis face off in a game to be the 8th seed and take on Baltimore in round 1. Of course, once we get done with these 4 games, we will preview the last 2 games at the end of the week. So be on the lookout for that. I hope you guys did enjoy this video. Make sure, as always, you guys like, comment, share, subscribe. Turn on post notifications so you guys don't miss an upload. And with that being said, I will catch you guys next week for the play-in tournament.